If you've ever tried to acoustically treat a space, you will have come across the term early reflections. Early reflections are the first sound waves that bounce off nearby surfaces. Now, while sometimes using early reflections in a mix can be quite musical, having them dominant in your room will invariably be detrimental to your stereo imaging, as they oftentimes cause so-called comb filtering, random dips and peaks in certain frequencies. There are quite a few ways to actually find first reflection points, one being the so-called mirror method, where a friend places a mirror on a surface and you try to see whether you can see the reflection of your monitor speakers in the mirror by just moving your eyes. If you can, this is a spot that you will want to treat. I want to show you a different, more informed method today by using the free software REW EQ Wizard and a measurement microphone. This does not have to be an expensive piece of equipment, but it should ideally come with a calibration file. A popular choice is the Mini DSP UMAX series, which connects directly via USB and is deeply integrated into REW EQ Wizard. For this demonstration though, I'll be using my trusty Behringer ECM 8000, which I had calibrated. Well, let's fire up REW EQ Wizard. If you've never done any measurements before, you should first calibrate your monitors and mic input to a known SPL level, as level can and will get pretty loud, but this is maybe for another video. Just be aware to be mindful of your ears and wear protective gear and/or leave the room if necessary. In terms of measurement setup, I usually use two settings. First, I set the length to 1M, which gives a very good resolution, but more crucially, I'm using the timing reference set to use loopback as a timing reference. Now, why is this important? The graph that I will show you will have the ability to calculate distances to your early reflection points. If you don't use a timing reference, these calculations will simply be wrong. Think of it this way. If you measure your room, there will be two signals sent. The measurement signal and a reference signal. The measurement signal will be output through one of your speakers. The reference will be looped back into your interface via another output-input pair. This is so that REW EQ Wizard can calculate how far away the mic stands and what all the distances are. Well, how does the software do that? Well, in roughly, 20 degrees Celsius, sound travels at around 343 meters or 1.125 feet per second. If REW EQ Wizard knows when the signal has been sent, this is what the loopback is for, and when the signal was heard by the mic, this is what the measurement signal is for, it can accurately discern the distance. Okay, now let's look at the graph and how to interpret it. For that, we'll switch to the so-called impulse graph, and it shows the impulse response for the current measurement. I won't go into all the sound theory behind that. I want to show you how you can now calculate the distance to your reflective surfaces. Since we're using a timing reference, you'll see a small t at the bottom of the graph. This is the point in time where your signal has been sent. The blue ref tag on top of the graph shows when the microphone first picked up the signal. If you hold Ctrl, right-click and drag between T and ref, you can now calculate the distance. This tells you the time it took for the signal to reach the mic and how far away from the speakers the mic was standing in both metric and imperial measurements. You can now use the same method to look at reflections. Early reflections are bigger peaks that occur in the first, say, 20 milliseconds. Well, let's check out this one here. This one is 1.7 meters away from the speaker. Now that you know the distance, you can fix a piece of string to your speaker and your measurement mic measuring 1.7 meters and walk around your room, keeping the string taut with your fingers. Chances are you are hitting either a wall or a desk, and that's what you want to treat. Bear in mind that sound waves can also bounce off multiple surfaces, and the string does not have to touch just one boundary, so you might need to check whether your string could, say, connect to both your screen and desk while taut. This could mean that you are hearing reflections from your screen, and you might want to find a better position for it. And that's a good and very informed way to find reflective points in your studio. Knowing the distance can help you find things very fast. And that's a wrap for today. See you soon.